Hey everybody, and welcome to another Star Citizen video. My name is Scary Spikes, and in today's video we're taking a look at the best solo mining ship in 317, the MISC Prospector. Before we get started though, a huge thank you to Staffa who's supporting me at the VIP Gold contributor level, as well as all of my wonderful channel members and patrons. I couldn't do this without them, and I really appreciate their direct support. If you'd like to support me like they do, you can do so by becoming a channel member using the blue join button down below, right beside the red subscribe button, or following the link down in the description and becoming a patron. You can also do so by leaving a like if you find this video helpful, becoming a subscriber, and making sure to ring the bell so that you don't miss future uploads. I'm also live on Twitch Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern, so make sure to come by and have a chat. We always have a good time, as well as our wonderful Discord community. Links for those can be found, again, down in the description below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this video. So I know a lot of you are going to say in the comments that the Mole is actually the best solo mining ship because although it's less efficient, you can carry more and you can break larger rocks. And while that's true in 316, it's wildly inefficient in 317 considering the fact that you now have access to the mining gadgets. With the mining gadgets and a pilot of the Prospector, you are going to be able to do everything that a solo miner in a Mole is able to do in 316 in 317. And those gadgets are going to be instrumental in allowing you to fly a smaller ship that's more maneuverable and doesn't leave you in as vulnerable a situation running between lasers and trying to finagle your way to getting some of those larger rocks with the Mole, because you'll be able to do everything that you want to do with the Prospector and the mining gadgets in tow. So let's go ahead and have a look at the exterior features of this very unique looking ship, and let's talk about the interior afterwards, followed by, of course, some of my opinions about how you should spec it out. One thing that we can agree on is that the Prospector is a uniquely awesome ship in Star Citizen, and it serves a very nation-specific role. Let's go ahead and start at the very front where we see that we have this bubble-style windshield, which is in contrast to the mail slot type of viewports that we see in the majority of other ships from MISC. That includes the Freelancer and the Starfarer, and of course the reason for that is because you want to be able to see as much as possible, not just the rocks that you're mining, but any other ships or debris that might be in your way, and of course you also want to get a good look at that mining head, which is just below the canopy. This one here is the Lancet, so that's not the one that comes stock, although the stock one is serviceable and will get you some decent mining experience, but I do recommend upgrading that. We'll talk about that later on in the video. As you can see here, we do also have a beautiful white paint job, which is available on the website, and hopefully sometime soon in the game. The main ingress and egress point is over here, and it's through the main door on the port side of the ship, which includes a ladder, which comes down and brings you up into the ship. There is an airlock there as well, which we'll have a look at later, which is always good to see, especially on a smaller vessel like this. On the port side of the ship here as well, right under the main ingress and egress point, we do see one of the two size 1 weapons. These are not stock, they have been upgraded to Badgers, although you do get the stock size 1 distortion repeaters, which honestly probably wouldn't hurt a fly, and you'd probably be better just running away as opposed to sticking around for a fight, especially if you've got something in the tanks. Definitely not worth risking that. We do have some front-firing thrusters here as well. These do allow you to brake reasonably quickly. And then following that, we do also have the main 4 containers, 2 on each side, the port and the starboard side of the ship, which hold all of your raw material that you've mined. Behind that, we can see a generously sized VTOL-capable engine. And again, this is exactly the same on the starboard side of the ship, as you'll see in just a moment. These do rotate up and down with the K key, and you can toggle those so that you can get into a little bit tighter of a spot when you're landing or taking off, whenever that's suitable for you. There's a number of landing gear here as well, total of 3 with a tricycle setup with 1 on the front and 2 in the back, as well as an exhaust port back here. And of course, we do have our main set of thrusters back here as well on the butt end, flanked by a pair of lights. On the starboard side of the ship, we can see exactly the same thing as on the port side with that VTOL-capable main thruster on the right side here. And then, of course, we do also have the pair of storage tanks for all your raw materials on the starboard side as well, followed by, predictably, of course, the forward-firing thruster, and then just the cockpit on the other end. We do also have the other one of 2 size 1 guns mounted just under the cockpit, right behind the main mining laser. And again, these are serviceable, but really only for the smallest of ships. if you get attacked, the best thing to do in this thing is run like hell. Let's go ahead and head inside and see what we can see. The living quarters are actually very cozy, and the design on the inside is really quite nice. Simply hold F to initiate your inner thought system and left click on enter ship, and that'll go ahead and drop the ladder and allow you inside. Once inside, you'll notice that we do have an airlock here, and it's very bright on the inside as well. There is definitely enough room to stand in here, although if you are looking to exit the ship, you do want to stand back here and hold F and open the exterior door this way so as not to get in the way of the elevator, which is tucked into the side here. There's a nice bright light here, and you can close the airlock door simply by using the panel on the right-hand side with the old text menus, because you know how much I love those. Entering the ship and looking on the right-hand side, we can see that we have a number of ship components flanking the interior of the ship here. We see that we have some radar and life support systems down there, as well as some access points for more maintenance things like the gravity generator and the jump drive. And then, of course, towards the back, we have the cooler. And over here, we also have a computer as well as a shield generator. Unfortunately, these aren't accessible at the moment, so hopefully that's something that might change in the future. And we, of course, have an emergency kit here as well, which I assume has some medical supplies and survival supplies as well. Now, we have a bed here as well. This is very, very nicely done. I do believe that this is supposed to act as an escape pod as well at some point in the future. The bed looks quite comfortable. You've got some lighting up here, and you can sit or lay down in it, and you can bed log as well. Although in 3.17, I would not recommend to bed log, as it is, again, unfortunately very bugged. Moving over, we have some more doodads over here. We got some water and some blankets down here, and this looks like some kind of food processor or something or other. Unfortunately, again, we can't really access any of this stuff. It's just kind of built into the wall. And then we have our toilet access, which we can open with the inner thought menu. And then we have access to a reasonably sized toilet for something of this size. We have a double sink right here, as well as some medical supplies in here with the survival kit, as well as, of course, the typical square MISC toilet, and of course the shower combo as well. Everything is finished in a very nice stainless steel with some beautiful ambient lighting, with some blue on the outsides and some nice warmer yellow lights inside. The contrast is honestly really, really nice, and it makes the whole ship feel very lived in and cozy, as well as quite comfortable. Moving towards the cockpit, it's very, very simple. We just have the one seat here, so this is definitely going to be a single-seater aircraft. And we can have a seat inside to have a look at all the different MFDs available, which is very different from most of the other MISC ships. Looking up, we can see that we have the annunciator panel right in the middle, as well as some buttons and switches up above. We have two main MFDs on the top left and the top right, as well as several MFDs in the middle, which are a little bit smaller, and nothing else down below, so as not to obstruct our view. We do have a HOSAS set up here, and as you can see from the inside, as I've mentioned, from the outside of the ship, the view distance here and the point of view is actually very generous and quite nice, and you can see quite a lot from the inside. So bumping into things is going to be more of a pilot skill thing, as opposed to, hey, I didn't see that gigantic rock floating my way thing, which is totally my excuse pretty much every single time. You can activate the mining mode in this ship by pressing M, and that will extend your mining arm. And at that point, you can go ahead and aim it with your ship simply by moving your mouse or potentially your joystick, depending on how you've got things set up. You can press the left mouse button to activate the chosen laser, and you can use your mouse wheel up and down to modulate the mining laser. You can also press the right mouse button to change from the mining laser to the extraction laser, and then back again. This video is not going to cover how to mine. It's just a video on the Prospector and its features. However, if that's something that you'd like to see an update to, you can definitely leave a comment down below, and I'll see if I can work with some of our mining gurus in the Discord to bring that to you. Let's go ahead and head over to Urkel.games and see how to pimp this thing out, although there's not too much to do, especially if you've got an escort, but there are definitely some upgrades I would recommend, including the big boy down there. Giggity. Alright everybody, so we got the Prospector pulled up here on Urkel.games, and a few disclaimers before we get started. I am giving these recommendations as my own recommendations based on my own playstyle, and yours may vary, and that's totally okay because we all play the game and enjoy the game differently. So if you have your own loadouts that you'd like to share with the community, feel free to drop those down into the comments below, or come by our Discord, link is in the description, and we've got a loadouts channel where you can share your loadouts as well. Now, also keep in mind that if you are buying this ship, that is the only way that you're going to be able to customize it. So whether you buy it in the game or you buy it on the website, there is only one way to customize the ship, and that is if you own it. If you rent the ship, however, as with just about any other ship, you will not be able to customize it. So keep in mind, if you're low on funds, you can definitely rent this ship, but it's going to come bone stock exactly as you can see it here. You can pause the videos I'm scrolling through to see all of the different modules that come stock with it. I will leave links down below for the stock and my own build as well, linking back to Urkel, so you can follow along with that if that helps you out. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the modifications. So starting off with the weapons here, we've got size 1 weapons, and honestly, I'd recommend just removing these since you won't really be fighting in your Prospector. If you feel super confident, though, that you'd like to fight off some would-be attackers if they are in small ships, then at least I'd recommend upgrading these to some 117 repeaters, and that's because these guys here are only going to do damage to shields and components, which is not going to kill anybody per se. It might disable them, but it won't kill them. So we're going to go ahead and get the CF117 Bulldog laser repeaters, and I do apologize, earlier in the video I may have called them Badgers. The Badgers are actually the size 2 ones, which won't fit here. So we're going to have the Bulldogs as upgrades, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the mining laser. So on the mining laser, we have the arbor that comes stock, and something to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that when you're upgrading this, that you're going with a size 1 and not a size 2. And the reason for that is because the size 2, though more powerful, are only going to fit on a mole, which is a multi-crew mining ship, and not on the Prospector, which is your solo miner. So you want to make sure that you have the size 1 there, so keep that in mind. And we're going to go ahead and click on that. We should see that the output is already being filtered here, and we see that the Helix here is on the top. Now, the Helix is technically the best when we're looking at raw output, but you need to consider the fact that this is going to be very unstable, which might not be very new player friendly, and if you're just getting into mining, you might have some bad days ahead trying to learn with the Helix. So I would recommend getting started with the Lancet. It costs quite a bit less as well, at about 23,000 alpha UEC, so it's a lot more new person friendly, and yes, it does have a lower output, but if you're creative with the use of your modules, you can get a lot done with this. And I'll be honest with you guys, I cracked some 5,000 mass rocks earlier today without any problem at all. And those are the average of what you'll run into in most places in space, slightly bigger if you choose to do planet mining. But this is going to do yet just for now. And of course, if you do want some more power, you can of course upgrade to the Helix. Just be mindful that with that power comes great instability. All right, moving on. All right, so moving on to the shields, we have the Bulwark here, and again, we're going to go ahead and upgrade to pretty much my favorite choice most of the time, and that is going to be the FR series. In this case, it's going to be the FR66. It's a size 1 shield, and it's wonderful. Honestly, I've never had any issues with that, and that is the one that I would certainly recommend. Of course, you can choose whatever fits your budget or playstyle, but that is my recommendation for that. Quick and easy. Let's go ahead and move on to power plants. So with the power plants, there are definitely a few choices. My personal favorite is the JS400. I do believe they have the Quadracells in here. Let's just have a look. Yep, so you've got the Quadracell MT in here, and that one's pretty decent as well, but I do prefer the JS400. They actually have the same exact output, and you can add these to your cart using the menu on the left-hand side here. When you browse through the individual modules here, you can add them to your cart, and once they're in your cart, as you can see up here, we've got the TS2 and the Prospector, for instance, so it'll tell you where you can buy it, and it'll also tell you the price as well. So this is a very useful tool to use for finding modules, and in 3.17 it's even easier because you can actually transport all of your modules to your home base via a transport ship now, because they are physicalized instead of just existing in a menu. So definitely a plus on the 3.17 side. But anyway, I digress. I think I'd go with the JS400. If you do have access to the Quadracell MT, though, that one is just good enough as well, and puts out about the same amount as the JS400 here. So either of those are absolutely fine. Moving on to coolers. So with the coolers, you get the Snowfall, and I know this one is going to be slightly unpopular for a lot of you guys, especially you beginners, because the snowpacks are very expensive, but I do happen to have a few on hand, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the snowpacks, as they are absolutely the most powerful out of anything else that you can get. They are grade A industrial, which makes them awesome, and of course they also have the stats to boot. Now, if you don't have the money for those, or you can't get them, the avalanches are absolutely fine. And honestly, guys, the only thing I would really start to upgrade from the very beginning on this ship is going to be the quantum drive and the shield. these two and the weapons you can probably wait to upgrade if you absolutely have to, but I've got these on hand, so I'm going to go ahead and slap these on. All right, moving on to quantum drives. And with the quantum drives, you do have a few options, and I'm going to go through them here. The Atlas is honestly the best overall because it does give you really good range, very good fuel efficiency, and decent speed. If you're looking for really, really good speed in a short distance, then you probably want to go with a Spectre, and I may have just passed it here, so I'm just going to go ahead and type it in. So there we go. We've got the Spectre here, and honestly, this is probably the best one. I do have some of these on hand as well, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the Spectre myself. For longer distances, you can go with, for example, like a Siren or a VK. They do have a very long time before they get to their top speeds, especially the VK, but they are very, very fast. So once you get to that top speed and you're going super long distances all the way across Stanton, that is definitely going to help you quite a lot. But if you're like me and you make short little hops from here to there, and you just want to make sure that you get there as quickly as possible, the top speeds on these things are definitely not as good as the VK and the Siren. However, their acceleration is spectacular, and it will get you to their top speed much, much faster, and thus get you to where you're going a little bit quicker. So my recommendation would definitely be the Spectre down here. Now, of course, this is all going to be up to all of you, but as you may have seen in the video, I do provide, or I do prefer the white livery on this, the polar livery, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that, and that's going to conclude the build on the Prospector. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do me a favor. Yes, I said flavor, and drop that like, become a subscriber, and ring the bell so that you don't miss any of my future uploads, as I do upload videos once a week. Of course, you can also help me out in a huge way if you want to go above and beyond and help to support me directly. It's what's responsible for helping me to keep the lights on and keep these videos coming for you. And you can do so in a number of different ways. You can become a channel member using the blue join button down below the video. You can, of course, use the link in the description and become a patron. We're getting really, really close to being halfway to our goal for the studio tour video, so go check it out. And of course, you can also join me on stream Wednesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch, and you can choose to become a subscriber there. Even a Prime subscription really goes a long way to help me out. Of course, we do also have our wonderful Discord community. Come by and say hello. It's growing very quickly. We have some really amazing people there that you can play with in a very huge diversity of time zones, people from all over the world. So come on over and say hello. Don't be shy, and hopefully we'll see you there, as well as in the next video.